Here at City View Park in the city of Hazleton, I'm Ken Carr with Paul DeAngelo Jr. He's involved with the Paul and Lisa DeAngelo Family Foundation. They had the big Independence Day charity event. First year the family did that, right? You said before this interview why your family wanted to do this, picking organizations that mean a lot to your family. Talk about how this all came about. I'm sure it's a lot of work, but why did y'all want to do this for the community?
Absolutely. I mean, our foundation is really focused around helping children out. We've been doing that for many years. We started the foundation back in 2016. Our family's been giving back to the local Hazleton community for a long time, but we really wanted to solidify what we do. And being that we're big sports fans, we wanted to do something big for the local youth sports team, especially a year, like I said, coming out of a pandemic last year. When I made the phone calls and got the phone calls that we were doing this, the organizations were so happy that we were doing it. There was so many different things that they were going to be able to do this year. I think Hazleton Area Football League said they're going to open their concession stand and they weren't going to be able to. I know the Hazel Township team had some issues with their equipment, and now they get to order a bunch of equipment for a lot of new kids that signed up this year. So the recognition that they gave to us on the donation was just so great. They were super appreciative of it. So
here with the director of the Hazleton Area Recreation Program, Dave Minnig, and how important is this money coming into the organization right now? What will it be used for?
What we're going to use it for is offering sponsorships for kids to participate at HARP right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little committee that meets, presents 3 or 4 of the kids who otherwise maybe couldn't afford HARP. The criteria will be financial, good grades, different things like that. And this will help offset the cost, Kenny, for those kids to be able to come up, either work with our strength coaches, in the boxing program, any of the programs that we have. So we'll have a little selection committee that we talk about these kids. We'll pick 5 or 6 kids, and DeAngelos were nice enough to say, once we kind of exhaust this pool of money, we'll look to refill it to keep this thing going with kids throughout the year.
I always say, I don't remember doing this when I was an athlete growing up, and I don't want to say other people weren't. Maybe I was just lazy, but it seems so prominent now. How important is it for athletes to kind of have access to something like this, or just kids to have access to physical activity all year round?
Well, it's huge, Kenny. I think the number one thing we always approach first is injury prevention. Because you can be the best athlete, but if you're hurt sitting on the sidelines, what good does that do? If you're a coach with athletes that are hurt sitting on the sidelines, what good does that do? So we try to ingrain a philosophy in the kids about injury prevention, nutrition, and the right ways to work out. We do a lot of work on core work, different things to help athletes or runners, whoever it may be, understand what are their real needs, stay injury-free, and keep participating in their sport.
Brian Schrader, the president of Valley East Little League over in Drums, is with me right now. How important is something like this, where you get an influx, that you get $5,000, especially coming in off of the pandemic and everything?
It's unbelievable. The year of the pandemic was really challenging in the fact that we didn't do any fundraising. Also for this season, we didn't feel it necessary to reach out to folks. We knew the small businesses were hurting based on the lack of business due to the pandemic. But again, to receive a phone call, Paul called up, said, "Hey, we got $5,000 for you." I was speechless. It's amazing. You just don't expect that, nor do you see that every day.
What does something like that do for the league? What are some costs? I mean, I'm sure equipment in that, but where does this money go to?
Well, once again, I don't think many people realize what it takes to run a youth sports organization for about 200 children. Everything from field maintenance to our concession stand to equipment, uniforms, hats, balls, gloves, everything's so expensive nowadays. So to get an extra $5,000, I kind of know where this is going. Our concession stand roof is leaking and we're going to get it fixed.
Where'd you play Little League at?
I played at Hazel Township.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, yeah. Hey, it's great. We did a podcast with the Hazleton Area High School baseball team, and a lot of them we were talking about, Valley West hosting the tournament this year, and there were some Valley West alum there. But then some of the Valley East guys started chiming in, and they said, if we played today, I think we would win. And then the Hazel Township, they still love it. They still take a lot of pride in Little League baseball, which is something magical.
Absolutely, and that's great. And again, it's nice to see within the area here we're starting to break down those walls between the little leagues. We're all working together for one cause, and it's the children.
We're going to finish up here in the studio because there's another story that I just have to share with you. Back in 2020, the Hazel Township Raiders Youth Football Organization had a bunch of cheerleading uniforms, helmets, and shoulder pads stolen. Coming into this season, they had to replace equipment and get more for an influx of kids who signed up. The league tries to keep costs as low as possible for kids, so league president Dave Zabataki told his wife Jill they would have to use a personal credit card to buy helmets for the league. But then they got a phone call about a donation coming to the league from the Paul and Lisa DeAngelo Family Foundation. It was the latest act of generosity from a community happy to help kids through sports.
It was just the perfect timing, perfect. It couldn't have got any better. I was literally crying on the phone to my husband. I said, I can't believe this has happened. It was like from our mouths to God's ears to the DeAngelo family's ears. That's how it seemed to work, because it was a godsend. It truly was. And to have that support financially from the DeAngelo family, he does so much for children in the community, with the Mission Autism, and now he's helped United Charities out. I just can't thank them enough. From the bottom of my heart, it truly, genuinely helped a lot of kids in our area that he doesn't even know about. Kids that we have to pick up for practice because they don't have rides, or kids that come and they don't have anybody there to support them. So it's really touched us, and I mean, we can't thank him enough, or his family enough, and the community enough. Talk about the community a little bit, and the community coming together, not only the DeAngelo family with economic help, but with other leagues. We can call the Valley Chiefs and they say, oh yeah, here's a helmet, or because people are short on helmets and you can't get them in because of COVID. So it's just like every league has really band together and helped each other out. It's such a community outpouring. It's phenomenal, I really have to say.
There's one more very important piece of this puzzle, and that's the kids that all of this money is going to help. I spoke with two players from Valley East Little League who really love baseball. What do you love most about baseball?
I think hitting the ball.
What's something you're working on with baseball?
Making contact.
What makes you love it so much?
Because I get to see all of my friends and play with them.
Where do you see this going? I mean, do you want to play up into high school? Do you think you'd like to try to make it to the majors? How long do you want to play baseball for?
About until I'm 60.
When Caden Rebarchak's 50-some-year baseball career comes to an end, maybe he'll come back to the area to help the Paul and Lisa DeAngelo Family Foundation raise more money to help another generation of athletes here in the Hazleton area. For SSPTV Sports, I'm Ken Kara. Thanks for watching.